Good morning. I will take your seats. Most of you are seated, but I gotta find you a place to get comfortable. I'm gonna be here a little bit. But I'm proud to see you out in this odd weather we getting here. We don't know whether it's warm or cold or raining or snowing, but 2 hours later it may be totally different. So it's Kentucky, but whatever. But we have some special people here with us to guests today, and so if you are sitting by one or you brought somebody that is not normally here with us, but I'd appreciate if you take some time to introduce that person to us.
Can I go first?
Yes, okay.
Be short. I've got Brent Bud with us today. He's a president of Farmers Bank at Salem. We go much further back than that, go a long way. He used to work with his mother, where he's a dear friend of mine, and we appreciate the support you give us every year. It means a lot.
All right, we appreciate inviting us and appreciate being a part of it.
We're glad you're with us. Thank you very much for your support. All right, someone else have somebody they want to introduce.
Me? All right, I'll do this. I'm Jim McDonald. I've lived in Livingston County all my life, involved in a lot of things, American Legion and a lot of lodges, and I put on 2 or 3 car shows. So Luann invited me down here to this fort. I thought I was just going to eat, but it looks like I've got sucked in a little deeper than eating. So. I have a lot of stuff I have to do, but maybe I'll give it a try. Maybe I'll be of some kind of help in on a little bit. So.
We will.
I'm appreciating it. It's nice to see everybody, nice to meet everybody, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, somebody else got along here. Okay, Lois.
Belinda doesn't need an introduction, Diana doesn't need one, but Freddie, Dana's husband, Freddie Call, he's with us today, so some of y'all may not know him. Strange spring down and Fred, you know, he's school.
We're glad you came with you. Yes, I'm glad you came. All right, who else? Anybody else got somebody? Linda, you got some people?
Well, Robert's been with us since he was a baby, but this is his mom. This is Karen Schmidt, my daughter.
Okay. And we're glad that Karen's become a member of the society, and she's a new member, and she's kind of retired from teaching right now. So maybe we'll get some younger blood in the group, and that would be great. And then Rita, go ahead and help me.
This is my grandson's girlfriend. She did work today, and I said, well, come go away. Anyway.
Glad to see you. Thank you.
I've got a special announcement to make.
Okay.
I don't know how soon, but in the near future, Linda's gonna open up the donut shop. Tell the story, Linda. Her husband woke right up the other night and said, have you got a donut recipe at 9 o'clock? So we decided she's gonna put in a donut shop.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something.
I think you're right.
Robbie Edgeman was able to come, Robbie, and so she has an appointment tomorrow. She's got cancer on her face. She's getting that off. So she didn't feel like coming, but when she was introduced, I said, she lives under the bridge. Nobody lives under the bridge. Dickie knew that, but he didn't correct me. She lived on a little island out from the bridge, and the road that went under the bridge, you know where it was, Dickie. Her grandmother was on either side, and I felt so bad. I said, under the bridge, sounds like a pauper, don't it? She didn't lie.
Well, that was on the other side of the river.
Right, and she said, we all sat under the bridge. I said, well, they didn't know it. I know that I introduced you wrong. So she's not here, but I told her I was gonna tell y'all.
You know,
Don't live under the bridge,
Miss May
This
doesn't.
bridge, under the Cumberland River Bridge.
right beside of it. There was
On
a
an
little house on the bank. All those houses were on that steep bank. And she lived right next to the bridge. Her grandma did. She lived on a little island out from there. All y'all that live in Smithville know about that area.
You know,
Anyway.
Miss May Dunning lived under the bridge on this side of the river.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't have a house there.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, we, and some of the members we don't see as often in real life, like Rita and Dana and some of the others that we don't see them as often as they like, we're glad that you're here with us today, and if you can find time, squeeze us in. We need all the help we can get. Bonnie, we still want to work on you. You'd have fun. We have fun.
We got a bad chance of getting it now. If it wasn't for Lola, she'd have to bring it, so.
Yeah. Lola, stop bringing her, so Connie. I stop bringing her. Okay, this dinner, for some of you who haven't been to one before, is a tradition that we've had for many years now to celebrate our programs that we have that help us work towards collecting and protecting and promoting and publicizing the history of Livingston County. And we kind of celebrate, say, well, we survived another year, we got more done, and we've been doing this. We met for a couple of years at Lola's, and we met at the cabin for several times, and so this has been a tradition, and we're glad that you all could be with us. Each year in January, the officers usually meet, and they set the goals for the coming year. And this year, our theme was to celebrate the 225th anniversary of Livingston County, and it's been a very busy year. On the screen, you can see a picture of Robert Livingston. Robert Livingston was born in New York in 1776. And why I want to talk about him is because we kind of skipped over him. We talked about the county, and we talked about, the towns, and we talked about some of the other events, but we didn't talk too much about Robert Livingston. He was briefly in our calendar, but Robert R. Livingston was born in New York in 1746, and his name was Robert Livingston. Yeah, that's what I said, Robert Livingston. The reason for that is because they had so many Roberts in the family already, but his grandfather was Robert the Elder, and his grandfather was Robert, just Robert Senior, and so it was a kind of a fashion at that time for the men to take a first name and then take the second name of their father, so that there were so many Livingstons that they would know who they belonged to. So they might call him John Robert, or Thomas Robert, or something like that. But he was the eldest, so he was named for his father. They gave him his father's name, so he followed the tradition of being Robert. Then they gave him the middle name of his father, so they know that Robert belonged to Robert. And so that's how he distinguished himself. He came from an extremely wealthy family, and he was well educated. He graduated from King's College in 1765. King's College is now Columbia University. He was admitted to the bar in 1773, and that same year he became the official recorder in New York City. In 1777, he became the first chancellor of New York, and concurrently at the same time, he became the first U.S. Secretary of Foreign Affairs, and that was beginning in 1783. He administrated, as part of his duty of that office, he administrated the oath to the George Washington and inaugurated him as the first president of the United States, and that was in later, that was in 89, I believe he was, I'm not sure. He was nationally known as chancellor for the rest of his life. And prior to his leaving he was there for 24 years and he left. And prior to his leaving, he had been appointed to the Committee of Five. You probably have heard of that. The Committee of Five was given the task of drafting the Declaration of Independence. And he was called back to, just after they finished it, more or less, he was called back to his state, New York, before it was signed. And he didn't get to sign it. But his cousin Philip Livingston, so there's a Livingston on there, but it was his cousin Philip Livingston that signed the Declaration of Independence. And then it was his other cousin, William, who got to sign the Constitution of the United States. But he was well known for his input into the Declaration of Independence. He was appointed by Thomas Jefferson, when he was president, as a minister to France. And from 1801 to 1894, that wasn't that long, and 1804. And he negotiated the Louisiana Purchase, and we probably know him for that. And so when he did the Louisiana Purchase, made an agreement with France, he made this statement. He said, "We have lived long, but this is the noblest work of our whole lives. The United States takes rank this day among the first powers of the world." Well, during also this time, about the same time, he met a man by the name of Robert Fulton, with whom he developed the first viable steamboat. And it was called first the North River Steamboat, because that's where it was on that river, on North River. And its home port was at the Livingston family home, which was called Claremont, and it was a Claremont Manor in the town of Claremont, New York. On his maiden voyage, he left New York City and he traveled to Albany, New York. And it took just 60 hours to get there by the steamboat. Previously, it had taken a sloop sailboat to take probably nearly a week to get there. So you can see how the invention of the steamboat prepared us for faster travel, and also down the rivers into the settlement and for the westward movement. Very important that he did that. He worked with him and whatever. He was also a Freemason, and in 1784 he was appointed the first Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of New York, and he retained that title till about 1801. And the lodge is still there in Manhattan, and it bears his name. And the Bible that Livingston used to administer the oath to President Washington is owned by the St. John Lodge of the Masons, St. John Lodge number 1 in that. And it's still used when they swear in the Grand Master of that lodge. Okay, on 1770, September the 9th, he married a woman by the name of Mary Stevens. And they subsequently then had 2 children, both girls. And both of those girls married Livingstons. So apparently cousins maybe, but anyway, they married, and from his second child, he got 4 grandchildren. And Livingston died in a natural death at the age of 75 in 1813, and was buried in the Claremont Livingston vault at St. Paul's Church in New York. Some of the things that was been to honor him is that, as far as I know, there's only 2 counties in the country that's named for him: Livingston County, Kentucky, and Livingston County, New York. And they were named some time ago. Now, there may be some that have recently, but those are the only 2 that I could find. As a statue of Livingston was commissioned by the state of New York and was placed in the Capitol building, in the National Statuary Hall collection in the Capitol building. And according to the tradition of each state, they only select 2 states to be so honored. And I assume he's from New York. He represents New York. Livingston is included on the Jefferson sculpture that's over in Washington, D.C., and it's at Jefferson Memorial. And there's a carving up there, and it's got the 5 that made the wrote the or drafted the Declaration of Independence. And so he's there with Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, uh, John Adams, and Roger Sherman. He also has a library named for him, and the Robert R. Livingston Masonic Library, which I told you about. And there's he's had several stamps named after 2 stamps. That has one of them designated about the Louisiana Purchase, and then one about just about him with his head on it. So that's the story of Robert R. Livingston, and it was very appropriate for Livingston County to be named Livingston because what made Livingston County was steamboat.
Is it true
River
that he was never in the county though? Is it true that he was never in this county?
As far as I know, I've never heard of him being here. He had a lot of political issues that I didn't go into, but he changed parties several times, and he was because he would disagree with some of the things they were saying, and then people would attack him, and they burned the first Claremont, the house, and they also burned another house they owned. But then he built it back, and it's still in existence today. Yeah, but as far as I know, he was never in Livingston County. I have not found that. But it was just that somebody in the steamboat industry probably recognized the importance of, that he was in pushing the steamboat industry. He didn't really own anything in the industry, particularly other than that first boat, but he was instrumental. So he evidently was quite an intelligent man, that could have done all that and could have been appointed so many times to so many important offices by his peers. Okay, so that's Robert R. Livingston. All right, now I want to get to the regular program, and I'll probably talk too long, but anyway, I'm famous for that. This is a program that we have this morning, and this was compiled by mainly by Roger and Mike, and they worked really hard on it, and other people had a few things to input with it and whatever, some pictures and whatever. So at this time, we're going to celebrate this year. So Mike, all yours, and Roger's,
I didn't do it.
you're just, okay, all right.
Well, like Judy said, we're going to celebrate what the Historical Society has done in the 2024. And unfortunately, I suggested it, so they all said, you're going to do it. So the Livingston County Historical and Genealogical Society has been in business for quite some time, and we're hoping to keep it going for a longer time. This is the birth year of Livingston County. It's been a very busy year for the Historical Society, and because of this is the 200th year of Livingston County, that was our theme for this year. Well, these are the people that keep the society going. Our treasurer, Luann, and Vice President Barbara, President Judy, and our secretary, Lola Guess. And they have been doing really hard work this year, and we've all benefited. And we've come a long way. We're into technology for the Historical Society, and one of them is our Facebook page. And if you haven't seen that one, go to it. And Barbara mostly takes care of that. YouTube, we have a YouTube channel. And if you haven't been there, do it. Get on YouTube and go to Livingston County Historical Society. And on there, we're making more and more videos. I say we, I mean Roger. Lola. We have a website. And here's where Lola comes in. If you haven't seen it, go to our website. It's lchgs.org and click on stories. And you will be amazed at the storyteller. We've also got some little CD players that we put in the museum. This particular one is at the How the West Was Won display, and we actually have How the West Was Won playing on that CD player. Email. We have email. If you need to send stuff to us, it's info@lchgs.org. And we have a large scanner. It will scan something as large as a newspaper, and we have a ton of old Livingston legends. And as time permits, we're going to try to scan some of those so we can look through them and read old articles in the newspaper. And of course, it'll take us probably 20 years. Behind the scenes, research, maintenance, all the things that we have to do. So here's Wanda and I, we replaced a board on the porch of the log cabin, and then we painted it. Well, Wanda painted it, and I watched. Judy's got some kind of paperwork in there, and guess who's watching? I'm a good watcher. We got Don Foster in the military section of the museum, and Mary Lou with her research. And we're cleaning up the old log cabin, the log room of it, because we wanted to make a better display area for the items that we have for sale. So we took some of the things that were in the log room and moved them over to the museum so we can show them better there. And there's this guy watching again, waiting for the laminating machine to heat up. I'm a good watcher. Our last event in 2023 was the Christmas in the Courtyard. And there's Micah bringing in Santa Claus and a crowd, and had a good turnout. And the first event this year was Livingston Central Springtown Carnival. We were asked to put up a table and have something for young kids to do. So we did that. And part of it was this thing that makes the badges that you have there. And so we had these young kids come, and most of them weren't quite strong enough to push the handle. So we had, like Shara was helping, Luann was helping, I helped a little bit. So, but this picture down here on the bottom, it was a windy, blustery, cold day, and there's all the usual folks there weathering it all. We had a good time. We had a good time at that. We've added several more names to our appreciation plaques. And these are on the wall in the log cabin. And we appreciate help that people give to us, and we can reward them a little bit this way. We joined the Chamber of Commerce. And we were even designated Business of the Month. And then at the November meeting of the Chamber of Commerce at the high school, we honored the Student of the Month, Jason Bannister. We gave him a small monetary award. We created newsletters. Don Foster, our editor. Well, several of our members write the stories and things, and then Don puts it all together. And then the worker bees get together and we fold and put them in envelopes and do the mailing of them. But it's expensive to do that. One mailing costs $146 for stamps. And so what we'd like you all to do is contact the Historical Society with your email address so that we could send these to you in the email and we wouldn't have to spend that money for postage. Grants. Lola and Judy worked diligently researching grants and applying, and we've got several of them. One was from the Community Foundation of West Kentucky at Paducah. Another one was from the Kentucky Colonels in the Paducah chapter. The Livingston County Tourism Commission, we received a grant from them, and the Fiscal Court of Livingston County. We appreciate all those people. We put a new display up. We took that long corridor on the first floor, and I'm not sure who suggested it at first, but Lola said, all right, I can do that. She got her sewing machine going and made the banners. And these are the communities like Lola and Hampton, Joy, Grand Rivers. There's 14 of them there. And we've got the little board with pictures. So if anybody here has or knows somebody who has old pictures of those communities, we'd really like to get them, scan them, and put them up on the boards. We gave tours of the courthouse to students from the schools. Judy and a couple of others have approached the school system to say that tours are available, and some of them, I believe these were sixth graders. And they all had a good time, and they were impressed. Over half of our members are life members, so we don't get dues from them. So, in order to pay for what the society does, we have to sell some items. So this year, we had a calendar, we had some caps and visors, we had t-shirts, we had these ornaments. We don't want to call them Christmas ornaments, but you could hang them on a tree, but they're just commemorating ornaments. The first one was a steamboat, the second was the Salem Bell, and the third one now is Livingston County 225 years. And books. We have all kinds of books, and they're for sale. They're in the display room at the log cabin. And we want to thank our sponsors for helping us with those items. And you too, Brent. Farmers Bank. We did fundraising, chasing around the county at any events that we had, like car shows. This was Salem Days, these two pictures. I want to thank Luann and Shara. This one was the Berna car shows. And the county fair and the car show at Smithwood. So they've been busy. Some of those were really, really hot days, and Luann would come back all sweaty, and yeah. But they did good, and we get the society out in the public, and that's a good thing. We were busy this year. The new teachers tour. The school superintendent for the last couple of years has had a bus tour for the new teachers and asked the society to provide tour guides. And so we did that, and there's some people you might know. Lola and Mark and Catherine. And they took the bus and they went all up and down the county from Grand Rivers to Carsville and let the teachers know where their students came from, you know, and to give them a tour. We went to Rocky Hill. Guess what we found up there? Rocks. It's all grown over and the buildings are gone, but some of the rocks that were the foundations are still there. Now that stone on the right hand side there, Judy, what is that stone? That the children of the DAR?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the CAR, which is Children of the American Revolution.
Yeah.
And the DAR in Paducah sponsored that group, and they came up here. Some of the same ones that we met, Cindy, some of the ones that we met. Yeah. That's been a long time.
We had the Lafayette Farewell Tour marker was put up. And this takes a little explaining. If you weren't there and you don't know what it was, General Lafayette, I should start back further. When the American Revolution happened, the English and the French didn't like each other. So the French decided that they would be on our side. And so General Lafayette came here with a big number of troops and helped us to win the Revolutionary War. Later, in 1824 and 1825, he came back and took a tour, which he called the Farewell Tour, of the places where his troops had been, and because, you know, he had a lot of friends there, like the leaders of the revolution. And so this year, this group that's called oh, I forgot to put the name of the group and I can't remember it. Anyway.
The Homewood Foundation?
Yeah, I believe that's it. It's the It's the LafayetteTour.org, I think, if you go online and look at it. Well, anyway, they put up a marker here in Smithland. And that's got a story on it too, because Smithland was not supposed to be a stop on the farewell tour. So the boat, which is called the Mechanic, came from Nashville and down the Cumberland and turned to go up to the Ohio, and they were going to go stop at Shawneetown. But between here and there, the ballast in the boat shifted, and the boat was in danger of sinking, so they came back to Smithland, and Smithland had a fine services for steamboats at the time, and while they got it fixed, he stayed overnight at the Gower House. So Smithland became a stop on Lafayette's farewell tour. Well, the kicker to that story is that the next day they got on the boat and they headed towards Shawneetown. They ran into something and the boat sank. So the people on the side of the Kentucky side of the river say they saved all the people that were on it. But the ones on the other side say, no, we saved them. So there's an ongoing there. So these are the folks from the DAR, and the fella from the organization, Julian Escher. I looked that up on how to pronounce that. And Terrace, the judge executive, she's there and gave her remarks and thanking all of the people who helped put on this. Not just the Historical Society, but the fire department, the fiscal court, the county workers, everybody who put in there. And of course, our favorite person, telling how we helped out with it. And there were more. After the ceremony, why people got together and of course we were there. And at the end of it, over at the church at Activity Center, the DAR folks had this huge buffet with cookies. I had never seen so many cookies. I ate too many of them. But it was good. We had a nice crowd, and this was there, and we should all be proud of it. Oktoberfest. You probably recognize these two folks, Doris Cothran and our own Dickie Berry, were grand marshals for this year's Oktoberfest. And we had fire trucks and bands, and we were there. Wanda and Lois and Amy were there. And it was a good one. And we had the courthouse museum open during the Oktoberfest journey. We had a lot of people come through. And I thank all of those that were helping us with that. Eugene Trimble. We lost him this year. I don't know if there's ever been a better supporter of the Historical Society than Eugene Trimble. Over the years, he made monetary contributions. Judy tells me that his last contribution was $1,000. And he came back for Oktoberfest for quite a number of years. And you can see some of his friends in these pictures. And the one in the middle, we're showing that this year's calendar, in the middle of it, is a page honoring Eugene Trimble. In the bottom right picture is his son Gary and his wife. And Gary, at the funeral, in the obituary, in lieu of flowers, he wanted people to send contributions to the Historical Society. And they did. So far, we've received $1,350 from the good people. And the picture on the bottom left is after the funeral. All of the family members came to the log cabin, and we gave them a tour of the museum. And there were quite a few people saying, "Wow, oh man, this is great." So we appreciate that. So there's our man, Eugene Trimble. Photo contest. Okay, when I figure this out, we'll go to the photo contest. We put out a leaflet, whatever you want to call it, hold it all around the county, and advertising a photo contest. And we had quite a few people that responded. It was into 4 categories. The naturescapes, this first one was submitted. Oh, I should say this. All of the entries. Now, when I first started to say that, put this together, and I started what I was going to say, I said that you would, all of the entrees in the photo contest, and Judy stopped me and says, pictures in the photo contest are entries. Entrees are what you get at the freight house. So this entry was from Mark Trail. After all of the entries came in, we took them over to the high school, and the photography class judged them. And so they judged the winners of each category: naturescapes, the people at work, wildlife. I love this one. That coyote sitting there. And historic sites. And the winner, Ray Reynolds Jr., won the historic site winner, but also the grand prize. How much money did we give away today? I don't know. Was it $25 for the winners of the category? $100?
As Luann.
$25 to the winner of the category, and then $100 to the grand prize.
So Ray Reynolds promptly gathered up his money and went to Costa Rica. He lives there.
I should also say the money that we gave away came in a grant. Lola, do you remember which one it was? West Kentucky or?
Yes, it was the Community Foundation.
So we've been busy. Every year, we grant a high school scholarship. It's funded by the G.A. Carroll Memorial Scholarship Fund. And this year, we awarded that prize to Jackson Henson. And he'll be attending Union College. And I believe he wants to be a pastor. Speakers. At our monthly meetings, we try to have a speaker come and talk to us. This year, we didn't have one in January and February, but the January meeting was canceled because of weather. But in March, Micah Croft came from the library and talked to us about the various programs that the library has to offer. And it was pretty good. Polly Brazier, who at the time was the curator at the River Heritage Museum, talked to us not about it, but she actually talked about Discovery Park in Dyersburg. She had a lot to do with setting that all up. And that was really interesting, talking about one of the things we need to know is how to run a museum. Brett Taylor talked to us about COVID-19 of 2020 and the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918. How they were similar and how they were different because of the modern day medicine that helped a lot of us. And even I had COVID-19, but it only lasted 3 days. It was modern medicine. Mark Trail talked to us, gave a slideshow, a really nice one about the historic places in Livingston County. Not only houses, but places where there used to be houses. In July, the Shake Note Singers came from Benton, and I had no idea what Shake Note singing was. But anyway, if you go to Shake Big Singing Day on the internet, you'll learn all about it. Way better than I can tell you about it. But they came, demonstrated to us, and this year, the Big Singing Day will be held in Benton, Kentucky on the 4th Sunday in May. August, Roger McGrew. He'd gone to Salt Lake City, Utah to visit the Family Search Library. And came and talked to us about genealogy, searching out your family. And I believe you were with the Vick family, is that right, Roger?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about the person there, that lady that was guiding you through it, how she was related to you.
Yes, so they have a big television screen and you put your credentials in, you log in basically. And it will tell you anyone else in the building that you're related to by comparing your family trees. And my first match was a woman that worked in the library. We're all related.
We're all related. Yeah. That was interesting. So if you need to know about genealogy and how we're related, he's the guy. Jim Provine came and talked to us about his days at Three Rivers Rock Quarry. And not only about his time there for 30 some odd years, but people that were there before him and some of the old ways of doing this. That little thing he's got in there is showing them loading stuff onto boats and barges down on the Cumberland River. So we had an exciting year. One of the things that the society does is we keep track of who's buried where. And that is in our cemetery books. Now, they were all started before Find a Grave and those things on the internet. But we're keeping up that tradition of getting those and the obituaries and putting this all together in book form. And be surprised at how many people come and buy those books from us, and they're interested in that.
People just keep dying to get in.
So Wanda and Mary Driscoll are the keepers of the books, and they work really hard trying to find all these things. She told me that there's over 175 cemetery sites in Livingston County. Now, it may be just one person buried there, or it might be a bunch. And they also keep our obituary book. They mine the newspapers and other places to find these obituaries. They go to the funeral homes, they go, but it's getting harder and harder to do because a lot of people are choosing to be cremated. They don't have an obituary. So, yeah, it's just getting harder to do. But I want to give a big thank you to Wanda and Mary Driscoll for their work in doing the cemetery books. Speaking of cemeteries, this is the Smithland Cemetery. And we have two people here that are really involved in that, which is Catherine and David. And they have put together a driving, walking tour booklet. One of the places you can get this booklet is at the log cabin. Any place else, Catherine?
Well, we have some available at the city hall and then at some of the tourism offices in surrounding counties as well. But the log cabin is probably the best place to pick one up.
So maybe not right now, it's getting colder and that, but you should visit the Smithland Cemetery, pick up one of these booklets, and or when they do have tours at times during the year. So in the spring, when the leaves on the trees are as big as squirrels' ears, that's the time. Go visit that. You like it. So, of course, our big thing that we do all year is the Courthouse Museum. And it takes a lot of work, keeping it clean, adding things, keeping an inventory. So if anybody's got a few hours a month, a few hours a week, we'd really appreciate it. Contact one of the officers of the club and we'll put you to work. I keep pushing that thing that puts that thing inside over there. I didn't mean to. The last thing we did, our last event for 2024, Christmas in the Courtyard 2024. We had Santa Claus, we had flags, we had people, and they had the display over at the activity center. And we had the Courthouse Museum open during that time. We had a lot of people. We really had a lot of people. I keep pushing that darn thing. So that's the end of my talk. We hope you liked it. One last thing.
Okay, when you first walk in the courthouse, one of the things that you'll see is it looks like a village, and that's what it is, a village. And it's Smithland in days gone by. And there's one of our members is totally responsible for this exhibit, and it's one of the largest ones that we have. And so I'm here to say to him today publicly, and that to let him know that we do appreciate all he has done. He doesn't know what he has done. He doesn't realize what he's done, I don't think. But Mark, I want you to know that you got us, I tell you, I can't say it any different. I'm going to read this that Terrence wrote for you. He got a proclamation, and it says everything I could say, but it says it better. So I'm just going to read what they did. It says, this is a proclamation to recognize the extraordinary work and donation of Mark Trail. Whereas Mark Trail has made a significant contribution to Livingston County by constructing remarkable models of the historical buildings in our beloved county. And whereas his extraordinary craftsmanship, attention to detail, historical knowledge, and passion for preserving local history have brought life to the architectural heritage that defines Livingston County's identity. Whereas Mark Trail's project serves not only as an educational tool for future generations, but it is also a symbol of pride for all residents. And thereas, through countless hours of hard work, research, and dedication, Mark Trail has demonstrated the spirit of volunteerism and community involvement, setting an example for others to follow. And whereas Livingston County and the Livingston County Historical Society wants to express our gratitude for his models, which will remain a treasured asset for present residents and visitors alike, fostering appreciation for the rich history of our county. And so they proclaimed the 24th day of September of 24, Terry Swanson, as Judge Executive of Livingston County, signed this proclamation. That's not right. He's probably been in more places than anybody else in this room has been. And he did most of it on his bicycle. And you can get places on your bicycle that you can't get on the road. So I know he's been in nooks and crannies that nobody else has been in. He went down the road on that trip that we took down, taking the new hire teachers on a tour bus. And he said, he was saying, came in and said, I'd like to go on that tour. And I said, okay. He said, what can I do? And I said, well, okay. I said, well, I was going to say my thing at the courthouse. And then Catherine was going to tell about Smithland. And then I was going to start on Lucy Jefferson, but you can start that. He started there. He told about that. And he would go down the road and he'd say, used to be a house sitting right up here belonging to Mr. So-and-so. He may not know who lives in some of the new houses now. He hadn't knocked on any doors, too many, I don't think. But he knows who lived there many years ago when the population was greater and the people were different and had different occupations and whatever. And if you mention a name, he's on his phone looking, or you mention something, he's on his phone looking. And if he goes to the library in Crockett County and he saves hours on that, and he's got all this stuff. I think he's already broken one phone because he wanted it out and had to get another. So if we were having anything that we could, say that a member of the year, we don't want to start a precedent so we can't keep going, but yeah, he is our member of the year. So thank you, Mark, for all you've done. Absolutely. Okay, at this time, I think we're gonna eat. And before we do, I'm asking Robert Schmidt if he would please ask the blessing, and then we will eat after that.
Let us bow our heads. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this beautiful day, Lord, that you've given us, the rain that we needed, Lord. We just pray to you for all the different stories that we've heard today, the backstories in Livingston County, and we just thank you for all the members that are here today to preserve Livingston County's history. It's very important, Lord. We just pray to you for this meal that we're about to partake, that we can use it to fellowship, Lord, and we can use it to nourish our bodies. We pray you bless food again. Here's his name.
Okay, we'll get the food set up, and then we will eat. Y'all can visit for a few minutes till we get that open and get it ready.